God says that he's close to the brokenhearted. My wife and I went through a miscarriage a year and a half ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
It was brutal. It was terrible. And we have one son, and that pregnancy was easy. It was not a problematic pregnancy. She gave birth, healthy boy. And we were like, okay, well, this is I felt like we kind of got through the midst of like the hardship. We're like, okay, great, we did it.
This is easy.
Yeah, that's not too bad. And we would hear about other people's, miscarriage. Like, man, that's so tough. Like, I'm so sorry that they went through that. And then it never resonated in our mind that would be a potential thing for us to happen. And then Kiana got pregnant with our second, and we were like, okay, like this is great. And we were on our way. We're a few weeks in, and next thing you know, she wakes up, and I was right before I was about to start a new job, and
anytime.
Yeah. And then boom, miscarriage. And it just rocked my wife and my's faith in that moment, because one, we had already seen God come through in one way, and the second time didn't go the way we thought. 1 + 1 = 2. Bad theology oftentimes is linear, right? And it took me a long time to see this, but God has never one time wasted any pain in my life.
Can I ask you a question on that?
Of course.
Just because I think this is really hard for me to wrap my mind around, in that I know that pain isn't wasted, but it feels like I go through pain for someone else to get the benefit of it. How do you wrap your mind around that? And like,
what do you mean?
Bad things will happen to me, and there's no remedy to the bad thing. Like, there's no remedy to a miscarriage. Like, it just sucks. There's nothing else to it.
I'm glad you're talking about it, because it's actually more common than you think. Women just don't talk about it.
Totally.
No.
And you do something like that happens, but it's not just to teach you lessons, or like, yeah, sure, you might learn a lesson or two, but your wife Kiana talking about it could radically change someone else's life and kickstart a faith journey. Like, that's so awesome. But if you feel like there is a hardship in it, it's like not cool to talk about. Like, I'm going through all this pain, and sure, I'll learn some lessons, and I'm also helping other people. That's so beautiful. But like, what happens when the pain is not all for you, but for someone else? Like, oh gosh, it's so much. It's so heavy. It weighs on you.
It's probably because he knew you could handle it. Reminded me one time, I might even cry with this one, but my grandmother had ALS, and I was pretty close with her. But she had a stroke before I met her. Before I was born, she had a stroke, so she only had half her body that she could use, and then she got ALS. And I asked her, I said, do you ever just like get frustrated? I said, why me? Like, she's so beautiful and everything. And she said, why not be? And then I'll never forget that. And you just reminded me of that. It's like, yeah, you're going through this hardship, and ALS is awful. Your muscles deteriorate. Your muscles deteriorate.
Yeah, what's that?
But your brain is fine. And so, for her to just say, yeah, why not? I can take it. And maybe the other person can't, but I can. It's good.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. It also offers a living testimony of strength, endurance. God's blessed you with the voice, and now you get to use it. It's also an opportunity for vulnerable. We're all finding out the first time in a year and a half he's outspoken, sharing it with the whole world. During that time, I'm sure it was very intimate between him and his wife, having to navigate that and finding it. But I've also watched Sash share and see someone else who was going through it, and I'm not sure even he knew at the time who was all in the room, but it was a prayer that got to me the day before. And so when someone brought it up, it was really at the perfect time, the first time I heard about any miscarriage conversations. And he wasn't sharing his experience with us. He was just saying these are things that people are praying over, and we're fortunate to have these moments. And so when you go through these times and you don't realize you sharing is also caring for so many other people and letting them know, hey, you're not alone. I didn't even intentionally tell you this, but like, you're not alone. I'm here with you. And I don't have the same experience. None of us have the same exact experience, but you can nourish your heart to be able to give some of it to the other people. And through your experiences, you wouldn't let anyone else to have that. Like, you don't want anyone.
No, it's like when your kid is sick. You know what I mean? When your little babies are sick, you're just like, please, kid, get it to me. Please, give it to me. She can't breathe through her nose. She doesn't know how to talk. She can't tell me. She can't even blow her nose. Please, just give it to me.
I think part of, to your point, right? So we live in a fallen world. And one of the analogies I use a lot with believers is I said, we're the only people that are at war in the spirit realm and are surprised when we get shot at. We're the only people. We're like, whoa. Why am I having a bad thing happen to me? Why did that person get cancer? Why did this person get a miscarriage? Why did my tire pop? Why? In fill in the blank with whatever thing from trivial to heavy. You are actively in a war. You have an adversary. The Bible says the devil is the steal, kill, and destroy. His sole purpose is to destroy your happiness, destroy you as a person, kill you, and steal any fiber and fabric that God has put inside of you to destroy you. That's why a lot of times atheists are not actually atheists. They're just really, really hurt Christians, right? And so when I look at these stories a lot of times, in the moment, my wife battled with a lot of anger, a lot of resentment. I battled with, I don't know how to be there for her in this moment. And also the grief that you feel as a father too. But you have a very different role in all this. And what was unique is, Matt, you're exactly right about how common it was. We had no clue how common it was until it happened to us. And the next thing you know, it was insane. And so on the 1-year anniversary of our miscarriage, or Kiana's miscarriage, she posted it on Instagram with basically a few stories, clips. And I had wrote her a letter from the standpoint of our child. And we can post it, on our page, because I think it'd be really helpful for people to read. But she posted it, and it was unbelievable. And it's not like my wife has like a huge following. She's, I don't know, like a normal following for like a girl on Instagram. But the amount of DM she got was so astounding. I mean, she could literally just scroll, and men and women were sending her messages like, we had a miscarriage 3 years ago. This letter like changed my life. We had this, I've wept for hours. Right? Like, it was unreal. And so I think, to answer your question more pointedly, bad things are going to happen in your life. Challenging things will happen. It's the beautiful thing is knowing that when they do, one, I have the person who I run to, and two, I know that it will never be wasted. Me knowing that the sacrifice that Kiana went through with her body and her child, I will see my child again. I know that. I will be in eternity with my child. That's so exciting to me. But to know that my son or daughter's sacrifice is liberating and setting other people free from what the devil meant for destruction, God used for good. It's a level of spiritual maturity that takes time to get to. And it's also a level of living my life on purpose. I'm not living my life for me. I'm living my life on mission for what God has called me to do.